Good morning. I tend to do these in the morning, I guess. Here is your Chapter 10 overview. Teachers in schools manifest several democratic and governance principles on a daily basis. Rights and responsibilities, the individual versus the common good, rules and laws, participation, fairness, multiple perspectives, power and authority, and the role of authority figures to maintain order and ensure that basic needs and wants are met. Free societies rely on knowledge, skills, values, and involvement of its citizens. Therefore, civics education is essential to the preservation and improvement of a democratic society. So, civics education really is that knowledge of society, developing moral and civic values that promote respect and tolerance of others. That's really what we do in our classroom. So making sure that we are being transparent about that can really help let kids know, oh, this is why we're doing this. Key concepts are learned through daily routines and expectations of community school life, and civics ideals and practices are experienced through the activities such as helping set up classroom expectations. How many of you do that the first few days of school? Examining experiences in relations to ideals. We might be doing that in circle time. Conducting service projects. Are you doing something for the class down the hall or for your community? Participating in class meetings. How many of you have class meetings where you talk about, are the rules working? What's going on? And considering how to balance the needs of individuals and the group. Always a hard balance. Young children explore their developing sense of fairness, we know that, rules and order through relationships with others. They develop an awareness of rights and responsibilities in specific contexts. They develop notions of power and authority as they interact with their teachers. And I think they also get that about other kids. It's really important that we have those routines, that classroom rules are specific, expectations are spoken, and that we provide guidance and follow through. So I have it's a 3-step method that I created for my classroom. My day job is teaching high school, and my high school students that work with the children, guidance is a big issue for them. And so I teach them, we have to teach the rule ahead of time, and then we remind the rule. Step 2 is to warn the consequences. Step 3 is to follow through, because they need to know that there are rules. These are why we have the rules. This is what happens if you break the rule. And then we need to follow through so that they learn, okay, there are consequences for breaking those rules. Preparing kids to be good citizens. Democratic values are experienced in preschool and primary programs where children are not just preparing to become members of the democratic society and good citizens, but contribute to building and fostering a democratic society and receive the benefits of belonging to the society. If your classroom is out of control, the benefits are just not there. Where if you have a well-guided and managed classroom, we all know that kids are reaping the benefits of being able to focus and learn, etc. Excuse me. In a democratic group, teachers share control. Children make decisions. Discipline is firm and consistent, but does not revolve around force, coercion, embarrassment, or threat. Freedom of thought and speech are fostered. Children are never overwhelmed by the power of others. A sense of community is built, and teachers model respect for others, and the teachers elicit being respectful and getting those caring behaviors from children. If kids feel like they're part of the classroom or part of the society, then they will feel more willing to exhibit their own unique self, respect and tolerance towards others, and really feel part of that community. So the national standards for civics and government indicate that by grade 4, children should have developed the following civic participation skills. Influencing decisions by working with others, Clearly articulating interests and making them known to decision makers, building coalitions, negotiating, compromise, and seeking consensus, and managing conflicts. So how can we get some of those things done? Well, the development takes place through preschool through the primary grades, and providing opportunities for teamwork that have group decisions in them, where we're not just telling them all the decisions, we're allowing them to make the decisions. Public speaking. We all hate public speaking, right? Well, it's one of the things that we need to learn how to do better. There's organizations called Toastmasters for adults to learn how to do better with public speaking. And if we can give kids the opportunity to learn how to do that, and also answering questions kind of on the fly, or a prepared question, that can help. Decision making in activities and skills, teaching them the skills of how to make those decisions. Problem solving through activities and teaching them the skills of how to problem solve. And conflict management, huge. We all wish adults had better conflict management, but teaching them the skills to do that, and then having activities where they can practice those skills. Political concepts, typically based on a child's own experiences, are introduced to children informally. When teachers follow principles of a democratic society, children experience political concepts every day. With experiential learnings of rules, authority and power, rights and responsibilities, and citizenship, children will be able to learn increasingly detailed, differentiated, and abstract information. We can do this by giving jobs with duties, choices, allowing choices, and allowing consequences. Some of us hate when our kids fail, but I think that's a huge learning tool, as long as we then support them how to deal with the failure and how to problem solve to then try again, and hopefully this time be successful. Voting is another one. So the habits and procedures involved in voting can be an appropriate part of a child's early educational experience. Children who have made choices for themselves and experience the consequence learn to experience the consequence of voting. Activities that involved voting, making choices, and respecting the choice of the majority can be experienced from a very young age. So we don't have to make all the decisions. But again, we don't want to say, what do you want to do? We would give them the opportunity to, do you want to go outside to ride the bikes, or do you want to go outside to play with the balls? So again, you're going to give specific choices for kids, and only give choices that you're willing to live with both or either one. So using a variety of symbols such as pictures and visuals, stories and songs, and movement can help children understand abstract political concepts in concrete terms. To young children, the president is a symbol of the nation. So whatever your political affiliation is, we are taking today 2020, 2021 out of this as we're talking about this. So it's really important that when you are teaching civics education, that you are making sure that kids never know your political affiliation, that you're keeping things very generic, and using positive examples, especially at this age. They can learn how to deal with the negative examples and the not so good examples later on in history classes or other critical thinking classes. So that's my little aside there. And children can learn that the flag is a visual symbol of the same. And I don't know about your schools. Teaching at the high school, we would recite the pledge once a week. And even that has become a questionable action, whether we do that or not. And so it is something that at our child development center, we used to have our preschoolers do, and we taught that to them. And we've gone away from it a little bit, just to stay away from controversy in some ways, the possibility of it. There are concerns about making children recite the pledge all over the nation. And although it is a verbal symbol, and so for most children, the pledge is meaningless, and that's one reason why we stopped doing it. But it can be done in a way to help them understand and foster the love of democratic attitude and values, and understand, making a pledge to follow society's rules. There are a lot of different things that we want to make sure that we're teaching kids about being part of a group, and ownership of and responsibility for democracy involves so much more than that daily recitation of the pledge, or even on special occasions. So at your center in your program, you're going to have to individually or program wide, or maybe it's the main organization makes the decision whether you do that or not. But it is important to realize that children can have experiences that will enable them to begin to comprehend the size, the magnificence, and the diversity of our nation. And so it's our job to start preparing them with the real basic things. And most people I talk to at this level, they really use the classroom as their society, and making sure that they're talking about that. Yeah, they talk about outside of school, but they're going to talk about home rules, and they're going to talk about maybe the city they live in rules, without getting to the grander idea, because especially for the younger kids, those are pretty difficult concepts to even fathom. So chapter 10 may evoke some different ideas and feelings for you. And again, remember, we are looking at preparing our kids to be positive citizens in the future with critical thinking, teamwork, decision-making, problem solving, public speaking, answering questions in thoughtful ways, maybe even asking questions in thoughtful ways, and learning those basic skills for a positive life. So hopefully chapter 10 will make you think and give you some ideas about what you might do in your classroom teaching civic education. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week.